So thank you for giving the EGA also the possibility to give our views on this very important issue. Just try to. Now, what is the experience of the generic medicines industry who has now moved into the biological field? It is, of course, still very limited. As you all know, biosimilar medicines are on the market only since the end of 2006. And as Sabine Strauss mentioned already, that it covers only three product classes: somatropin, epoetins, and filgrastim. In preparing this presentation, I was trying to get an estimation of the use of biosimilar medicines in regulated markets. So these are products which have been approved in the EU, but also on other markets like Canada or even US and Australia. So I came up with an estimation, and I think it's a fair estimation, which is up to 100 million patient exposure days of experience. But with regard to experience of ADR reporting with batch number and name of the medicinal product, of course, the experience is quite limited when you compare this with, for example, vaccine plasma-derived products industry, where of course, batch reporting is more common and good in practice. As we all know, the reporting of batch number and name is not a new requirement. It's in volume 9A since some years. But again, what is new is, in fact, now what comes into place, what has to be implemented by the member states, and which has been in detail presented by Sabine Brosch and also alluded to by Sabine Strauss. What is the concern from our side of the industry is specifically now with regard to the increase of the patient report in general. Not that the patients have to, are going to report, probably increase the report, but there seems to be a lack or delay of follow-up of suspected adverse reaction reported by the national competent authorities. I would not like to point out here that it is there are issues with the national competent authorities in general, because I don't have an overview what the companies do. So I think the performance of how the companies perform has to come from the national competent authorities, and I don't have access to that. But I want to just only report on feedbacks just in the way the member states reported to the companies. But this is irrespective of the product. So this is not only regarding biological medicinal products, but it's important to highlight because I think it's an issue which we have to look at. So some feedback which has been received from individual member states were, for example, we have no resources for follow-ups. We only have follow-up events of interest. We do follow up on request on marketing authorization holder, but only when medically justified and when there is resource. We only follow up according to our SOPs. If we do follow up and we get information, it will be sent to you according to the normal routine. So if you hear nothing, we either did not follow up or did not get a reaction. It's just only a picture on the situation, and I think we have to recognize the problem of resources at the member state level and how this can be overcome. Now, when it comes to biological products, we are somehow concerned that if, for example, a patient reports an allergic reaction, which could be a sign of immunogenicity, and we are concerned that maybe this ADR might not be flagged up in a national database. So it is very important that this kind of reactions, because the marketing authorization would start an immunogenicity testing as soon as possible to avoid other intervention causing a reaction. Also, if there is a delay of 1 or 2 months by the member states to inform the marketing authorization or to follow up, that will, of course, interfere into the investigation. There is also the issue of confidential patient or reporter details, so the marketing authorization cannot do the testing, which should be done in this particular case. Now, having said that, I think there are different interpretations by our members with regard to the business process map, which is currently in the GVP Model 6. Some think that if the case is not complete, the case report is not complete, it will not be validated. And I had a little discussion with Sabine Brosch before. It appears that this is still the case, and I think certainly for the time being, I think this should go on, even if the case, the ADR report is not complete, the batch number is missing. I think the case should land up in the pharmacovigilance database until we get this identification issue completely under control. Now, we all know the information which is required to complete a report, like the name and the batch number, it is available. So every medicinal product has a unique approved name, an invented name, brand name, or INN plus manufacturer. Namely, mostly in largely a situation, it is an invented name. There are also detachable tear-off syringe labels, which are required by the EMEA at the level which ensures, of course, a traceability down to the level of batch number used by the patient, and is also mentioned in the risk management plan. And we will look at that, how this has to be used. It's not enough that it is on the label, it really has to be used. Then we also have the batch number, which is stated for all EU countries on the outer carton and the cartridge syringe label as required by the QID templates. Now, what is the issue? And it was the issue of identifiability. I got it. And I'm very pleased, of course, to hear the results of the study which Sabine presented, because I think it is important that we look into the extent of the issue in order to find solution for the gap, or how we achieve really the complete identification of products. So I think your study is already very helpful at this stage, but also what would be very important, and I think we discussed that at the GCON also with EBE and the EMA, is to get an overview of the implementation of the member states of Article 102 and have a look at it in a few months' time, how the situation looks like. And I was also pleased to hear, Peter, when you mentioned about that maybe there will be some kind of questionnaire or some activities in autumn, just to see where we stand, because I think it is maybe early stage for the moment to really see, what will be the impact, what are the measures the member states are going to take, how are the different stakeholders are going to come into play, like, for example, also the important role of the hospital pharmacist, the patient organization, and so on, and of course also the doctors. Now, Sabine also put into play, of course, the link to the identification, the IDPM standards. And I would like also to mention here the ongoing discussion on the unique identifier in the context of the Falsified Medicines Directive, which for medicines at high risk of falsification, and clearly biological medicines are high-priced medicine, and I believe that they will end up having this unique identifier. And let's see how all these fall into place. We also know that there are some very interesting and good e-health initiatives by certain member states. We have to look into this. The impact of the black symbol, what will be that impact? The statements in the SMPCs and the PIL that batch number should be recorded. And again, I think this was already mentioned before in the previous presentation, that national competent authorities should do awareness campaigns in relation to these requirements. I think that came also out of a study which the EMA did in 2010 with the Pharmacovigilance Working Party, and that was also one of the conclusions, that there should be more campaigns, awareness at the healthcare professional level and at the patient. And I also believe on the naming. I think there's some kind of confusion about what is the name of the medicinal product. I think something also has to be done at that level, and also for all stakeholders. Now, last but not least, I do not want to open up the INN debate for biosimilars, but I think it is important to mention that that a different INN, that's not the solution to this issue of traceability. We still believe that biosimilars should continue to share the same INN as a reference product because the active substance is a known biological substance, and it is also very important for the single detection for class-specific issues. And as we have seen with the PSCA case with Eprex, which was ultimately tracked down to different batches of the same originator product, which really showed that it is very important that complete records are necessary down to batch number, and this has nothing to do with the same or different INN. Last but not least, we of course expect that at national level we will have the same pharmacovigilance requirements consistently applied to all biologics in the same manner. And of course, all the stakeholders have to work together and must ensure that tracking and traceability of safety findings are done. And I think the key probably is a proper record recording at the level of prescribing and dispensing. Thank you.